Greetings, everyone. Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill, and I am here with lovely Bedhead and Bedbeard. But that's just how we roll when it's early morning on Thursday, May 20th, 2021. Today's Project Dramond update is all about the Circle of Mages. More specifically, we've been diving into the factions of Project Dramond. Um, and these kind of fulfill two purposes. They're somewhat backgrounds, but they're also actual factions who exist in the game. So they impact not necessarily your alignment per se, but they definitely affect how other people see you. Because if you are a part of one of these organizations, and one of these organizations, say the Church of the Elder Ways or the Circle of Mages, have specific clothing that they wear or specific outfits, that is going to impact how people react to you. Could be positive, it could be negative. It just depends on where you're at in the world and what you're involved in. The Circle of Mages has a complex background. Um, they were primarily made up of elves in the beginning, but since then they have expanded to accept all the different fae, and they were spun up as a direct result of the humans coming into the fae territory, and basically the high elves decreeing that, hey, we need to keep an eye on these people and make sure they're not going to cause another global catastrophe with their quantum mechanics and energy and manipulation of space-time and things that they really don't know what they're messing with. So this post today is all about that. It's all about how the Circle of Mages was formed, the organization itself, the history of the organization, the hierarchy of the organization, and it gives players a chance to sink their teeth into that background to determine how it is that they want to be involved. Because there are 7 branches of elemental magic, which we talked about in Tuesday's post on mage specializations. So, each one of those sort of has its own underlying. I hate to use the term alignment, but if you think about most air mages or most water mages as an example, they're probably going to be more druidic in nature, and they're going to probably be involved a lot with the sea elves and the shipping. And their merchant vessels and exploration ships, as opposed to, say, a fire mage who's in this case, we're not talking about war per se because we're not in a warlike state yet. But fire mages are more inclined to be involved with building things. They're involved with smithies and the forging of metals and so on and so forth. And yes, fire mages can wield great destructive power along with earth mages. Any of the mages can theoretically wield great destructive power, but we haven't entered into a stage of time where those powers have needed to be used for devastation. They've always been used for the betterment of society, the building up of people, the building up of all the various cities, and just sort of moving all these societies forward. However, based on the timeline that we know, because we're dealing with the plague and the fact that the Church of the Elder Ways is now hunting down elves and especially elven mages and taking them out. There is a lot going on, which is going to start shifting the landscape towards um, war, and that's sort of the overline. If you've been paying attention to the brainstorming series that my brother and I have done, and the book outlines and all the other stuff, um, that's kind of the plague was what kicked everything off, and now all these realms are now in a state of chaos, and we're definitely moving towards this big thing, which is the kind of the previous world-changing event was the rifts and the tears in the space-time continuum as a result of humans dabbling into quantum technology. But now we're getting into the next version of that. So, I've generically called this the second age because the first age in my mind, and these are just generic terms, the first age was the beginning when thousands of years and the elves and all the other fae are living in their own blissful harmony and just living their own lives, and then south was the humans evolving and becoming this force that battled with amongst themselves and almost wiped their entire race out. And then they came north, and then now we're into what's called the second age generically. Of course, I don't have names for these yet, but the second age is humans coming into the elven and fey realms, and how that commingles, how that commingling takes effect, and then what are the results of that. And we're getting into the results of that now. The Circle of Mages is one of the groups that sprung up as a result of this commingling. Um, sort of as an oversight committee in the beginning, kind of like an oversight committee that was also an aid facility. So maybe think of it like, God, I hate to use the UN as an example, but you know, they were originally put together to help the humans rebuild society, but also to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not doing stupid stuff with their quantum technology again. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you like this kind of stuff and you're interested in what you hear, don't forget to check out the Project Dramond playlist here on YouTube. Most episodes I'm a little more well groomed than today, but I'm in a rush today. I got stuff to do. But you can check all those out. There's, I don't know, 40 or 50 videos by now, and also all the Patreon posts because we're doing all of the documentation at Patreon. Every single one of these videos has a post associated with it. It's the first post below, but you can also support us at Patreon. The link's below. We're also doing stuff on TikTok. Join us in Discord, everywhere else. Subscribe to this channel, all the good stuff. And I will see everybody in the next episode, which will be next week. But we do have an update on Patreon coming on Sunday, which is going to be the point and click adventure game update. And then tomorrow is the stand up from Wednesday night. So stick around for all that stuff. Until next time, safe gaming.